There's a lot of uncertainty in world markets because the U.S. and Europe imposed sanctions and then secondary sanctions. So companies are trying to figure out, who can I trade with? Who should I not trade with?
Did you know that only 85 of the 195 countries on Earth are considered economically stable? That is less than half the countries in the world. Economic stability is a goal that pretty much every country strives to achieve. And as we have seen, contrary to what you may believe, only a fraction of the countries are still considered economically stable. Now, what does economically stability mean? Well, as the name suggests, it is a state or condition or of an economy where it is operating smoothly without experiencing severe fluctuations or disruptions. In the case of macroeconomics, to find out how economically stable a country is, there are several factors that are considered, and some of these are GDP in full, gross domestic product, which depicts the level of national income of a country made in a specific amount of time, mostly a year or more. Higher income generated means higher economic growth. Consumer prices. These are indicators of economic stability because of the demand and supply phenomena. How the consumers respond to the changing market is how a country can tell the status of their economy. Employment rate. This shows how economically active a country or company is. It accounts for the number of people sitting idle without contributing to the economy. Rate of inflation. The higher the inflation rate, the higher the economic risk, and vice versa. Also, high inflation hinders or stops investments from other countries as money and assets lose value. To list the other ones down, they are interest rates, level of debt, public expenditure, trade deficit. These are known as indicators of economic stability. So what are the most serious threats to economic stability? These threats are grouped into financial, social, political, technological, and legal threats. Some of these threats are geopolitical turmoil. This is the tension between two countries. Companies are trying to find out who they can trade with, and because of the tension, they may be limited as to who they can trade with. This disrupts the world energy markets, which continue to have a big impact on the outlook of the global economy. Second group is the financial threats. Fiscal deficits. The fiscal deficit arises when the number of expenses made by the government exceeds its revenue. This just implies that the government is spending more than it should be receiving. Now, we all know the effects of taking out so much money and receiving so little on our finances, and in the case of macroeconomics, it is no different. It can harm the economy as it will reduce economic spending. The government will borrow funds to finance the deficit, leading to a high number of debts. A lower deficit implies better stability. High inflation. Rapid and uncontrollable increases in prices, inflation, or sustained decreases in prices, deflation, can erode consumer purchasing power and disrupt economic stability. Productivity. It has been recorded that productivity has declined in the US and many other countries as well. Because of this, the market value of goods has dramatically increased, causing another instability in economies. As one way of dealing with this, governments can come up with the correct measure of product to be released to the market. Recession, or stalled recession, which in other words is a prolonged, lengthened period of economic contraction. This cycle, officially started by COVID and a massive expansion on the money supply in some countries, has led to a decline in economic activity. In a situation where a number of supply shocks have occurred, a recession is very much possible, and to get out of this bumpy economic situation, there is a need not to shift focus from the supply shocks like wars, sanctions, among others. One of the biggest and most dominant threats to economic stability is the advance in technology like artificial intelligence, AI. AI. It is likely to induce lower real earnings and a shift in income distribution. Treated wisely, it can be the biggest source of income depending on the type of business you are doing, and if not, it can leave employees to the side. With the advancement of AI, there will be significant parts of society that will be left behind in many roles. Even in the old days, people preferred someone with advanced knowledge and higher degrees to get things done. Today, the more advanced and highly capable is AI. A fair assessment should be done to ensure it works for society broadly. In the social group of threats, there is climate change. In this day and age, if you turn on the TV, there is at least one story of flood, hurricane, tornado, or something worse happening somewhere. Quite morbid, but who's to blame other than ourselves for that? It is our planet and therefore our responsibility to keep it safe, and that includes the idea of an energy system that isn't making all the natural disasters worse. Which means the usage of materials that will simply not emit toxins into the atmosphere. It is now not only the government's responsibility, but it is up to us to start with zero carbon emitting energy sources, electric vehicles. Immigration. In a world where more people are moving and relocating to new areas seeking greener pastures, the employment rates are also being affected by it, and because of this, more people are still left unemployed. This is up to the government and private sectors to create room for equal employment for all immigrants and citizens alike. There is also fragmentation as one of the most serious blocks to financial stability. Financial fragmentation has important implications for global financial stability by affecting cross-border investment, international payment systems, and asset prices. This in turn fuels instability by increasing banks' funding costs, lowering their profitability, and reducing their lending to the private sector. Now we have been talking about how we can notice if a country or organisation is economically stable and its threats to become unstable economically, but we haven't touched the part where we discuss why a country should be economically stable. What is the importance of economic stability in macroeconomics? Well, here are some of the upsides of being financially stable. More employment opportunities. Everyone's participation is essential for a steady economy to work efficiently. Economic stability increases the demand for labour. This increases the chances of employability and, thus, increases the employment rate. Increased public expenditure. Economic stability contributes to monetary gains, which allows a government to spend more on its citizens. Spending more on the citizens simply means providing them with the necessities as a country. It provides free education, healthcare, sanitation, and other public services. Improved living standards. Jobs for everyone and easy access to public goods offer a better life for the citizens. It also helps bring people out of poverty by giving them a fair and equal chance. Attracts FDI. FDI is foreign direct investment. A stable economy benefits everyone. Therefore, foreign investors and businesses wish to invest their funds in such an economy. Income inequality. Income inequality often goes unnoticed in a country, but a stable economy also focuses on equal distribution of income and wealth. It is essential because every citizen is part of an economy, and collective, inclusive growth is an economy's growth. One of the biggest and most important sectors affected by economic stability is the public health sector. Health is a wealth, and so access to good health facilities depends on how much money a country has. How does economic stability affect public health? Economic stability is important in many sectors, and instability is a big problem to the public health sector as citizens may not have access to free health care when they need it. Therefore, economic stability offers not just a cure, but also a precaution to keep citizens safe from diseases and infections. How do entrepreneurs affect the economic stability of a country? Entrepreneurs help stabilize the economy by creating more job opportunities for people through their ventures. They also offer new products or services, which people accept. As a result, it increases a country's GDP and ensures the money supply in an economy, thus creating stability. To achieve macroeconomic stability, a government can focus on the economy listed above and other economic variables. Constant monitoring, controlling, and responsiveness to these indicators will help achieve stability. Also, stabilization policies enacted by the government can be helpful to a great extent. Comparison of the progress and on indicators from the previous years to the current year is a big plus in contributing to an economic stability. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to never miss informative content like this.